Excellent. Welcome back, everyone. We are now ready for the top 8. I'm joined by Cobra Bubbles.
Hello.
This time 16th.
16th, yes.
How are you feeling?
Yeah, feeling good. I won all my runner games today and lost all but one of my corp games. So probably be changing my corp for the next district.
I will prioritise someone
next week
if they get knocked
playing in
out.
Nottingham. Going to be a
If
good time.
neither of those are available, I would be very happy to have you join. That's right. Sorry, I did not hear anything.
That's okay. Just that my corp was not good, and I'll probably change it for next week in Nottingham.
What were you playing?
Confusion. It's like solid, but it's slow.
Yeah.
And I played it in an online tournament last weekend.
Bunch,
I went to time in every game, and I did my best to not play slowly. But I'm a thoughtful player, shall we say?
Yeah.
And you forget that it's difficult for runners to play those games quickly, without them being any fault. It's just a lot of decisions to make that are high stakes. So the games tend to be slow, even if you play fast as the court player, especially in paper. When you've got all the other stuff to manage as well. So it was a bit of a tough choice. Probably I need more reps in it if I'm going to play it in more tournaments.
So what we have here is we have Mr. Velis on Hoshiko, gone 3 and with 1 draw, but that was an ID. And then we've also got an undefeated, a PE that had 1 draw.
1 loss, I believe.
1 loss.
Yeah, they were on the table. He was on the table next to me in round 1. I lost to Not Yet. But seems to have won all its other court games.
And
cool.
there is a crocodile. Again.
There is a crocodile.
Crocodile
do we know the story of the crocodile? I missed this.
Was it Fee playing before he had the crocodile? I'm not sure. But apparently the crocodile is a health and safety inspector.
Oh.
So,
okay.
But earlier on was being used
sure.
for Steve cards to gobble them up and make sure they never saw the table again.
That's very good, yeah. Just keeping an eye, make sure this Juteki deck is all above the board.
Yeah.
Nothing, no hazards at work for the runner here, we hope.
Now, is there a crocodile-related card?
Mm-hmm. There's Gabali.
Gabali.
GB, I think, weirdly.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a crocodile. There we go. That is the one crocodile card we have to enjoy for now. I can't think of any others.
I can't think of any others.
Some shameless sticker promotion here.
Oh, look at this.
Look at this, yeah.
Wow. Play Fiat a tournament and you too can win one of these cool cyber stickers.
I assume this is, so we're not quite started yet. They're just doing the final preparation checks for the round.
Nice.
And this will be Mr. Velis, as second place from Swiss, has chosen this as their matchup here.
Okay, great.
The other way round, let's just have a little check what they have.
I guess that makes some sense.
Of course, an Ob deck by Mr. Velis against a Lat deck.
Sure. Time started, sounds like, so we're off.
Yep.
And this is, I believe this is pretty straightforward loud PE?
Yep.
As we've come
loud
to
PE. Now, everyone says what that is.
Yeah.
But no one says what that is.
Is
this just prana condenser? Is that...
So it's kind of just prana condenser. It's prana condenser, it's also Regenesis.
Okay. And it is trying to score?
It can score. It's a fork, essentially. It's going to... set up positions where the runner is discouraged to run because it's PE and they might take a bunch of damage and die.
Yeah.
And ideally in those windows, score a Regenesis and score 4 points, and then make it very difficult for the runner to not interact because they risk losing on points. And then they start interacting and are more likely to die. But yeah, it can make a bunch of money with Prana. Sometimes the deck has Hollow Man in it as another way to score a Regenesis or otherwise surprise score things. And obviously it has all the usual PE stuff, stings, and usually 1 snare, but sometimes more. Okay. And some nasty ice.
And
just a lot of things that make
keep the runner on their toes.
Basically,
And if they make a slip up, there's a way to kill them. And if they don't, and they're not interacting, then there's a way to score out.
Exactly. It's kind of the classic kind of deck that you play with the cards you're dealt, you do what you can. And,
there is
you try and put the runner
a prana condenser on the table. So we've got the cards that kind of pulls it all together, but that's instantly getting trashed.
And a little Hoshiko flip for a refund there. But missing the Rashida. So
yeah, that's unfortunate.
Nice refuel. Oh, we see the Moon Pool in hand there as well. That's a nice little tool for this deck.
This is...
Again, to score Regenesises or to otherwise surprise.
Yes, that looks like a hybrid release there. So
hybrid
we've got the option of, if we do use that Moon Pool, we could then put something back on the table. Obviously, at this point, pretty Not what we're looking for. Okay, we're putting down the Fuji.
Interesting. Yeah, Hybrid released the card that ended the Worlds final. I've seen this deck up close and personal because when Deer was playing it in the Worlds final, I was table judging.
Yeah.
So I had the privilege of seeing it played by a master.
We have a protected Fuji.
Yeah.
And then one last click is going to be, is this a new remote?
So I think we're kind of considering over the next couple of turns the possibility of overdrawing here with the Spin Doctor, pitching a couple of agendas and using the Moonpool to score the Fuji is my guess over the line.
Yep.
We've seen a Largo installed here and Armakua in the bin, so that suggests that this is a crew Hosh of some kind. Yeah, we're playing Anacam as well, so Anacam Largo, powerful little draw engine, which is particularly nice in this matchup because you get to draw, between Hoshiko, Anacam and Largo, you get to draw like 3 cards a turn cycle, clicklessly.
Yeah.
Which really helps when you're bleeding cards to all the PE damage.
And is this deck going to be on things like Ashen Epilogue to be able to get through that all again, or have we got a kind of finite set of hit points here?
So the sort of canonical build of this, which is the deck, Kikai's deck from London Regionals and other places, is on Ashen. There's an interesting question about when you're playing Ashen against a damage deck is like, how long do you wait before playing the Ashen?
Yeah, definitely.
Because you're at risk of losing it to damage and potentially being in an irrevocable situation.
The Crocodile
moves over
romping around,
Yeah, protecting archives.
Just a casual 5/5 moshing, yeah, that is the best way to see
even better,
moshing
because it was
played.
Anacam as well, so it was a 5/6 moshing. Compilation, that's nice way to diffuse some of the threats on the corp side.
Yeah. And down comes the Memu, which is going to be some nice income to be able to help us keep afloat with the number of assets that we're going to have to go through and trash over the course of the game.
That's right. So
now, were we expecting this PE to have Bladdle as well? Probably not, right? Because it's a bit of a no-bo with Prana Condenser.
Yeah, I don't believe that the list usually does. The kind of key assets, apart from Prana, are Cohort, mostly, Cohort Guidance Program,
Yep.
which is another way to score in sort of non-obvious ways, turn a board state like the one we see here, which seems fairly unassuming, into potentially 3 or 4 points scored, with flipping those cards, getting extra advancements on your Genesis all 5/3s, and just again really trying to fork the runner.
Yeah, and just some good some good income and filtering to get you to the cards you need.
Exactly, yeah.
So when you lose a Prana Condenser, you can go find a second one sooner.
Yep. And we've got a couple of installs here, so we haven't res this Spin Doctor straight away, so we're just cooking this Spin Doctor and this Fuji. This is one of the things that this deck does really well, that I think is where a lot of the skill is in piloting it, is in just not making it obvious what you're doing, right? You put cards on the table and just leave them there. Maybe they're agendas, maybe they're just things you've decided not to res, and the runner after a while is going to have some amount of mental load, right, about, okay, well, I've left this card on the table for a while and the core hasn't done anything with it. Am I supposed to go after it or am I not? Right?
Yeah.
Is it a snare just sitting there? Is it an agenda that they want me to steal?
You'd hate to finish a game and know that the points you needed to finish and win were just sitting there the entire time. Because once a card sits on the table long enough, you get to the point where you're like, well, maybe it's just a failed trap. Maybe it's just a card that doesn't have relevant text, and therefore, if I ran it would just be a waste of a click.
And that's, I think, the really skilled players of this deck do something that I find quite difficult, which is just be really patient.
Yeah.
Just know when to like use your cards and when not to bother, and just leave them on the table. Which
where is this dirty laundry run here? Are we dirty laundering the card in the middle? Because
it
feels very risky with basically every deck having 3 Spin Doctors in it. I always feel incredibly uncertain running a unprotected face down. Yeah,
but again, it's a card that's sat there for a whole turn cycle, so maybe you start to think, oh, it's the Moonpool. Interesting.
Are we?
So either we've dirty laundry around the remote, or possibly we've dirty laundry on archives, which has forced the Moonpool out.
I see, yes.
Because there was a Fuji face down archives.
Yeah, so there we go. 2 click tracker advancement tokens on that card there.
Very nice, yeah. And those 2 agendas get shuffled back in. So with still 3 clicks for the runner here, so now the runner has to sort of make a call about, okay, what do I think this advanced card is, and do I want to try and go and get it, risk this ice giving me some trouble? This corp sat on, looks like 10 credits.
Looks like it, yeah.
So it could be an Anansi, but there's a data loop in there. Could be a data loop. If it's an Anansi on the remote, then the corp can't afford to score.
I think we'd expect here that it's going to be an Ender on ice, because when you're putting down a Fuji on the table, you know that you can't just let someone walk in. But I guess there's also the chance you just kill the runner. If it's a size and tan and it manages to fire,
right,
it's devastating.
If you have a crew to put down here, you're insured against size and tan, but not against Nancy.
Yeah.
It's tricky. And yeah, it was a run on HQ there.
Okay.
That's which explains again, didn't want to get the hybrid release stolen out of hand to prevent the Moonpool play. But we have crew and charm coming down, so we're just running this last click. We're running it last click with quite a few cards in hand.
Oh yeah, so the Moonpool was because the agendas were in hand, we wanted to
exactly.
make there be no opportunity. There is also a very interesting Moonpool line, which I haven't seen and I haven't played much, but where you just use it just to throw away some cards so that you guarantee they hit the snare. Which is certainly a fun one, especially if they're multi-accessing and you've got 2 snares in hand.
Yeah, that's a nice line. It's a delightful, really versatile card, really fun. But now Fee has to decide here whether it's willing to trade this ice for this crew charm. The crew charm's going to get some ice eventually, unless you res no ice for the whole game. But if you don't res here, you're just letting this Fuji go with no reward.
Yeah.
And it looks like 5 cards in hand for the runner there. That looks like an Anansi to me.
Looks scary enough.
Oh, I hear
We
Fee from
overheard.
across the room confirming. And away it goes with the crew and the charm painted.
Yep. Then an access through, and that's
Access
stolen.
Fuji.
That is very rough.
This is
exactly what Hoshiko would like to see.
Yeah.
Although we do still get the damage,
We
because
get
we do
3
encounter
damage,
it.
and we're going down to 2 cards at the end of turn here. But Fee, by paying for the Anansi there, I think is kind of saying, look, I'm not likely to be able to punish this 2-card turn very soon. I need to just get this crew charm out of here so that I can make more plays in the future.
Yeah.
We do draw the Sting. Now that's
Spin looks to give us more options.
So now we kind of see how these loud games tend to go, is that the board, the number of face-down cards in remote servers on the board goes up and down over time. And so now we've gone back to 0, right? There's no unknowns, and it's on Fee to set up some more situations for the runner to have to worry about, which it does immediately.
Yeah. But here down on just 2 credits by the looks of it, which is not too scary with ice, but we do know that there is a Tatabola there, which is either going to end the run or is either going to give us some income back if it does get broken through.
Yeah.
So we can protect the things that we care about protecting, which is important.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, you've seen the data loop in hand as the runner, so not unreasonable to guess that the new ice might be data loop. But there are at least 2 more cards in HQ, so it's not a certain thing by any means. The thing is, if you run these in their Tatibolas and they just fire, then Fee's sat on 0 credits, unless the new card is a Rashida, or one of the new cards is a Rashida, then we're going nowhere fast. Can't even res cohort from 0 credits, so... But Velis taking a think about this after drawing some cards here. Yeah, and we are going to run a remote.
Now, this remote, I don't know what is it. Okay.
And there is
a cohort.
Yeah. That should go, I should think.
Yeah.
Oh, it's cup, Stephen.
Even worse. Because, we want to keep their econ down. Well, they've only got 2 credits.
For sure. Yeah. Same
Moving on here. I believe this will be a res of a Tatubola here. I don't think you want to let them have this sting.
There we go, yeah. And that's going to sit, and we have Fee starting on 0 credits. Which was all wage workers, I think. So it might be the old Juteki economy here, click with 3 credits. Classic. Been doing that since the core set days. Mystic Mamie taking up to 3, I think, here. So we're going to be wanting to play an event this turn. Or maybe he's going to start dealing you damage, which not a matchup. Not a matchup that you want to be taking random damage from your own cards in, if you can avoid it. Looks like we're spending on a steel skin. Okay, so just playing the steel skin manually is interesting. We have to draw 4 with Anacam, but that's not going to be there to insure us later.
Yeah, it suggests that that's the only event we had available to us.
Yeah, could be. And there's only 1 steel skin left, the 2 down already, which is good for Fee to keep track of.
Here comes the dirty laundry. Where is it going?
Looks like R&D.
Yep.
Looks like a Prana, I think. And that's 4 credits spent.
That would check out. Yep. That's Prana down.
Get the 5 back from Laundry. So this is another interesting thing about this loud deck is it is one of the PE decks that can make credits matter. You know, a lot of the time you're playing against a PE that has relatively little ice, for example, and is doing mitosis things. Your cards matter a lot, your clicks matter a lot, but your credits don't matter that much. But against the loud deck, because it actually has like relevant large ice and high cost trashables in it, it does tax your credits.
Yeah.
But if you can keep them off of resing the big ice ever, which we're kind of in a good position to do here as Mr. Velis, then those assets, you have the money to trash those assets much more easily.
Oh, we are
We've
using
gone for
the compilation very
yeah,
well.
interesting. And we're below snare credits, so that's quite a good time to do it in some ways. See a wage workers, we're going to think about trashing that.
Yeah, now is it a card you trash now, or do you wait till it's on the
I
table?
think you have to leave it, yeah. Going fully broke to trash that is hard, and it's the loop and the pool. Could consider trashing the pool, but I think leaving them both is probably fine. At least you have full information here, which you feel pretty good about. Apart from that one card on the table, you know everything in play, pretty much.
Now, I do wonder about that.
Oh, twinning.
That use of compilation, whether it's the kind of card that you want to keep around a little bit longer, because it doesn't look like we're going to see lots of agendas in hand at this time.
It's interesting, right? Also, if Velis has been keeping track, he knows that one of those cards was Data Loop, because we saw it already, and the only ice that's been installed since has been Rezzed and
Yeah.
Stantibola, so yeah, so you're seeing 2 new cards, you're seeing your cups of 2 new cards there.
It feels good because you know you're seeing everything,
You're seeing everything, right?
but falling into a trap as well of like just, oh well, they got 3 cards in hand, so this must be the perfect time.
Yeah, sometimes it's not. Yeah, it's a hard call. The deck might be on more than one compilation. I actually don't remember. There certainly have been versions of
Yeah.
Crew Hush that have played more than one. But maybe with the Anacam splash, you don't have the room and the influence anymore. So it looks like we lose our last credit to Hoshiko there. Never a place you particularly want to be.
And then down on 0 credits, but definitely going to flush up with credits again after this moshing.
Yeah. And there's the 3rd steel skin going as well.
Okay, this might
So
suggest that we're thinking about a reasonably early Ashen if we want to get those back. Although,
Potentially.
at the end of the day, I think often against the loud PE decks, it's more your hit points are a source that you need to keep up, rather than you need to worry specifically about having over 5 cards
the
in
deck is
hand.
kind of built to kind of fork you into a spot where you die or they score,
Yeah.
rather than grinding you out over time. So yeah, as you said, the action's not quite as important. But for you knowing that there are 3 steel skins in the heap here, it just could like
Yeah,
reduces a lot of the
excellent knowledge,
uncertainty
yeah.
about when your kill lines are going to stick and when they're not. But
Yeah.
for Mr. Velis here, I think we see the twinning charging here. We've got 3 points already. I think we're just saying let's just try and end this game before Fee recovers from the NNC that got destroyed, which is definitely possible.
And yeah, with the corporation on, is that 5 credits here by the looks of it?
Yeah, looks like it.
And knowing that in their hand they have not got anything that is economic except for the wage workers, which is, could be a pad campaign a turn later. You can kind of take your time a little bit. You can sit back a little bit, wait some time, let some agendas bubble up.
And go looking for them, right? Because there's nothing in hand that can really threaten you.
Yeah. And while you're Hoshiko, you want to touch a card every now and again, so you can just do a little check. And meanwhile, you can just be ticking up your twinning and just putting more pressure. Because if there's a data loop, that data loop certainly wants to be on the remote, not on a central. It wants to be protecting a Fuji or a Sting that could be fatal.
Yeah. But I mean, again, the nice thing about this loud deck is your cards are like really quite versatile. Again, you kind of just do what you play with, what you draw, and try and make it work. And as we've seen, I mean, this deck has won a lot of games today. We've seen it be very successful in hands of a lot of players in the past.
Yeah.
And part of that is its versatility, right?
And this leech is going to be very nice, just to allow you to kind of take a little bit slow, just check a little occasionally. check R&D, check HQ, you know, but also be building those counters on the twinning.
Yeah, and it gives you a nice sort of pivot point where you've got this crew in play. And there's a Hansei, nice recovery.
Now we have money again, and we have a card in archives in case we want to do something with it.
We're going to take that R&D ice, that's a smart move I think, and the second ice on the remote here.
Now, I believe this was just one... Yeah, so we drew for turn, which means that at that point, Mr. Velis knows every single card in hand and the top of R&D, and you've installed 2 pieces of ice, one of which is certainly going on the remote. Unfortunately means that now Mr. Velis just knows exactly where every single piece of ice is.
Yeah, although...
And knows what they are facing.
Doesn't know which is which of the 2 that were just installed, necessarily. I mean, as you say, it's a pretty reasonable assumption that it's the data loop on the remote. I haven't kept perfect track of it myself, so it's possible that between the R&D card that was seen and the other cards there was 3 ice total, and that one of them got discarded to Hansei. So maybe the data loop's in there. So there's a little bit of uncertainty, but you're right. We're pretty confident.
No, we had Wage Workers, Moon Pool, and then Data Loop. And then we saw the top of the deck was, right. I believe it's an anemone.
But there were 5 cards in hand on that turn, so I feel like maybe there's been one more court turn between the now, and there's another card that's been drawn. Because the Hansei had to be drawn from somewhere as well, right?
Yeah.
At any rate, we've...
there we go. I'm completely wrong.
I mean, the core of the analysis is correct, right? Which is that Mr. Velis knows with pretty high confidence that there are no really threatening cards available.
And now this is very difficult because with 2 Tattoo Builders in one place, and also assuming there is an ice left in hand to make this Tattoo Builder do something. There we go.
Look at that.
You have to question, like, when you see 2 Tattoo Builders, do you just leave it for now to keep their credits low?
Or do you crew one of them, you know, rather than let this double swap happen? And also, you know, Velis deciding, look, this card's been on the table for a while. Maybe I don't have a read on what it is, but I still need to check it, which kind of tells you something as the PE player about what the runner's going to check and what they're not.
It is a sting.
And it is a sting, so it's points. Puts us within 1 Fuji of winning the game, but it's also damage. Not the agenda you want to steal the most, necessarily.
And in this case, it's 2 damage.
Yeah. Just
1 and
checking
then 1.
that we got an Anicam trigger from earlier. And there's no steel skins, so it's...
and our twinning is up to 2 counters,
these
so...
are just going to be real damage. We do get the strike fund, though. That was last click, and we're only on 2 cards, so... yeah, again, a little bit of a bold move. There are... Oh, and that's a Blood and Water draw.
Yeah.
So we can just score that from the hand here, if we want to. Get some points on the board, and get another little damage. Looks like that's a 5 sitting there, so still on 10 credits from PE. Take another damage, and it's not an event, so you don't get the Anicam draw on the corpse turn, which is what you like.
So, do we think that using Blood in the Water there, is that because we just want to get it out of the way because it's a risk, or
that seems to be most likely? Yeah.
I guess it's a difficult card to score.
Yeah.
So when you have that window, you kind of have you just have to go with it. Yeah.
Equally, you could have just put it in the remote here behind 2 ice and just left it there.
Yeah.
For and at
with
some
the amount
point
of
later
money
in the
you
game,
got from all the Tattoo Bowlers.
Yeah, and then maybe you score a sting later, put the runner down to 1 or 0 cards, and finish them off with the Blood and Water.
And it's very possible that where we did have 2 Tattoo Bowlers. Maybe the first Tattoo Bowler became the second Tattoo Bowler.
Right.
To switch itself back in.
The other thing about Blood in the Water, though, in my experience in PE, is like anytime you steal a Blood in the Water as runner, it feels really good because it's 2 points for your 1 damage.
Yeah.
Whereas compared to Fuji, where you're taking 3 damage for the 3 points, or something like a Sting,
or
even a Hybrid Release, where it's only 1 damage, but it's also only 1 point. 2 just clean points that are easy to steal feels really good as a runner. And just taking it out of the game when the runner's already, up 4 points is like potentially a pretty good defensive line, just to make sure that Velis has to work for the rest of these steals, unless they're Fuji, of course.
So that's up to 3 counters on the 20 now.
And we are raindropsing
we're just doing it.
So we're going to go for it, it looks like.
Now, I think this is an anemone. Which is this a problem?
You're right. It isn't an anemone. We're trashing here.
It only does 1 damage. Okay, but this could
be. Only does 1,
but this is potentially you lose the whole hand, and then gain 1 card back. However, in the knowledge that as long as you steal a Fuji,
Yeah, but if you steal Sting, you die.
Yeah.
So it might have to be a jack out here. We're hitting 2. We do get the Anacam draw though. Okay.
Yes.
So you can steal Sting safely with the
Yep.
Anacam draw, assuming you deal with this subroutine, which would require crew here. So if the crew trades for this anemone, you feel pretty good about that as from PE's position.
Yeah.
Assuming the runner doesn't win on this R&D dig. Yeah, we are.
There it is.
We are making the trade. We need to make some
Paying
change.
2 and taking a tag, I believe. Or did we have some leech counters?
Yeah, we do need to take a tag. Looks like we're looking for one. There we go.
There we go.
We have left to clear it, but we might prefer to draw up potentially.
And here, how do you feel about using the 20? I guess you probably want to reconsider how much you use the 20.
I don't know if you can, right? Because if you just hit like a Sting and another 1 pointer, you're dead. And it looks like a jack out. We didn't access at all. And it wasn't a gender on top. I didn't quite see which one.
Oh, that is interesting.
We cleared the tag last click to keep the 20 around.
I guess because also, you've seen a blood in the water scored. That means there is some blood in the water in here. You have the deck list.
Yeah, you can check
but there is
how
a
many.
risk that if they have another blood in the water in hand, then they just put it down on the table and they can do that final damage if you manage to steal something, like a Sting.
From memory, the kind of canonical loud deck only plays 1 blood in the water.
I believe so. I think I overheard that earlier, that there's just 1 blood in the water.
Yeah. So you know that like you're looking to find Fujis here, and everything else is just going to punish you and be a bit mean for you. Notably, the Largo trigger on that turn milled the 3rd crew, which is a bit of an unfortunate mill here. So we're going to need some labour rights or something like that to get these crews back.
Yeah.
And we're going to be contesting ice, or we're going to need to try and establish this the Amakua at some point. Yeah, also looks like we may have missed... because we jacked out in the last run. So we've actually not had a successful run since the leech came down, interestingly, on Centrals. And now you sort of have to decide, okay, I've got 4 clicks here. Do I just draw on C3 and R&D? No, we're going for the labour rights, so we're just going to immediately refresh these crews, I assume. Draw for Anacan.
Is it just going to be all 3 crews?
I don't know, how much is that what you want? We're considering it, the steel skins that we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
We're getting an Amakua back, so we're recognising that Amakua is one of the things we're going to need to get through the rest of this game.
Yeah, and I don't think we don't expect this loud PE to have enough ice to really lock out comfortably.
No, it shouldn't be able to, yeah, especially when this leech is running and there's a double charm. So we're going Gamble and Steel Skin as well as the Amakua here. And not very many cards left, so pretty good odds of drawing one of the cards you just shuffle back. It's always interesting when you choose 3 different cards with labour rights, when you could have chosen multiples of the same.
Yeah.
Suggests that Velis's needs are kind of multifarious here. And that,
Just doing a check of the list here.
That removes from the game. We're checking the list now. Yeah, we're going to do the classic. Let me figure out what cards you have left in your small stack and grip. We're doing a labour rights count. That's smart. Because if you can keep track of where all of those are, then you know whether or not the runner's going to be able to ash him in this game. Yeah, definitely a way for these Jideki decks to win in the Anarch matchups at the moment, when almost all of the Anarch decks are relying on going small deck with labour rights. Is if you snipe a labour rights at the wrong time with that damage, you can really
there is
just
an
put
action.
an end to the game. No, we're taking no risks. We're just playing it right now. Yeah, makes sense.
Do you think that we drew that off the labour rights?
I would assume so.
And therefore we were like, well, we haven't really got a choice now.
Exactly,
Yeah.
feels pretty awkward to play labour rights and then play Ashen.
You'd quite like to know it's in the deck, make a run and kind of lose some cards. That's fine.
Yeah, and then
Hopefully draw into it with,
exactly.
Lego Paranoia or Anacam. Although actually the Lego is a real risk, because if the top card is that,
you might have to just decline your Lego trigger.
And with the labour rights, getting rid of the buffer drive meant that you also lost another way to get back a very specific card if you needed it.
That's true, yeah. But now we've gone for the full shuffle, so even though we've gone pretty broke here, we get these 5 cards and get the 5 removed from the game off the top as well. So see how these go.
A moshing, a twinning, a moshing.
Logo, Steel Skin. Steel Skin's relevant.
A good amount of card draw gone.
But those are cards you just don't. Those are cards you're not too worried about. I mean, moshing is kind of the best card to ashen into, because it pays you back for your Ashen
Yeah.
to an extent.
And you've got all 3 crew in there. That's what you're looking for, really.
Yeah, but money might start to become an issue now as well. It's something to think about, even though there's not really ice on centrals. That card is in HQ, yeah, so no ice on centrals.
But yeah, losing the steel skin is going to be rough.
Just taking an R&D run here.
Looks like we're seeing 3 here.
That's a snare, baby. Let's go. Sorry,
And we've already committed with the twinning, which looks like it's 3.
Oh, have we?
We're seeing 3. So
we're seeing at least 2, I think. Yeah, might be
this
3.
could be fatal. But again, if we see a Fuji first, then
Fuji'll
it was
do
all worth
yeah,
it.
Yeah, so it's... Oh, the steel skins are back in now, and we see one hit.
There comes steel skin. And the Banhar has gone too.
We're seeing a second card.
That's the Tatibola.
Tatibola, nice and safe. And the third card
is a Prana, which we cannot trash. But now, hopefully, Mr. Velis paying attention, knowing the top 2, knowing that we've got that twinning when we need to run in and get 3 cards. Just need to wait for those to come up.
And importantly, assuming it is on the usual 1 copy of snare, you know where that snare is now, which is always a good thing to know.
But there is a spin doctor on the table, ready to
there is. It's
ready
been there
to
for so long,
spice it
I've
up.
forgotten.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. Okay, never mind. Snare can be anywhere, anytime. I mean, impressively, after that Ashen, we thought putting back all the steel skins, 2 of them have gone before the end of the very same turn. So, yeah, just 1 left now, which again is good to know for Fee. Yeah, and really interesting exchanges. I really like this loud deck for the kind of gameplay it creates, where the games are not all. We see punishing for the snare tag here, trashing, twinning, and Largo.
That definitely
really
makes sense. Yeah.
And again, loud deck. Sometimes your deck gives you a tag, and you play with what you're given.
Also, top tier play as a corp to recognise there is a tag, and the tag does have the ability to trash the resources. There were games earlier we saw today where we saw someone they missed out on trashing a Banhar that was running amok everywhere because they just forgot. There was a tag they didn't expect to come up, and it was there.
It's easy to do, yeah. I was playing Cheeky Cloud Eater in my Ag Infusion today, which sadly didn't come up, didn't manage to get it rezzed all day, but sometimes you stick tags against the runner in a Juteki deck, and they're just like, I guess, what, you're playing Ag Infusion, Glacier, you're not going to kill me? And then you say, okay, I'll trash 3 resources, go ahead. Feels pretty good.
So we went back there, we saw the Prana Condenser that we already knew was there. I wonder if maybe we hoped that there might be like if you're checking the list, maybe you're worried about the number of agendas in there and you want to check the spin doctor or something.
It could be you get a leech counter and it's a safe access.
Yep.
And you get to keep your Hoshiko on the drawing side, which is pretty relevant. But it could also be, forgetting that you knew the top card. It's been a long day of Netrunner, and that's the kind of detail that's easy to lose track of when you're trying to pay attention to the more critical ones.
Looks like running Arcos here. Oh, just showing. There's Wage Workers and Moonpool in there.
Yeah, so those some of the cards we saw on that compilation earlier that got thrown out to Hansei and other effects. So we think this is so there's 2 Tatabola in hand we see now, and 1 on the table. And so that means that the agenda we saw earlier is in the server here. And Fee hasn't scored it. He's too busy trashing the runner stuff. But we could definitely see that scored imminently.
Is this 2 Teddy Rollers being shuffled?
Yeah, but you have to play, play
yeah.
kayfabe and make them randomise. Do you belong to a particular school of thought about whether you should make any sort of bluffs or signs as corp when you're... the thing I tend to do if my opponent steals an agenda from my hand is say, that's the good one, implying that it's the only one. I have no idea if that works or helps in any way. Just an instinct I've developed.
I mean, you can also do like, the 1 in 5 when
you
actually
really
you're
flooded
and you're full of agendas.
But that's for the double bluff, right? That's when you say that you do that when it is the 1 in 5 to make them go back.
But yeah, this is why I love the in-person Netrunner, because you can have those interesting ones. It's never the same on Jinteki Net where you're typing away in the chat like, oh, this one's I've just installed a card. It could be an agenda.
By the time you finish their messages, your messages have already taken 2 more clicks. We've got some R&D ice here and a credit, but and another face down in the remote, so still not scoring. That ice is Tatabola, we know, and the face down is whatever was drawn. Oh, we know it's a Prana that was drawn off of R&D. Both players know.
Yep, so that's going to be 3 credits in the card here. Oh, actually, no, we can.
And now this
we
is
can just
really
break
fun
it.
because as runner you get to break this tattoo bowler. Feeling like surely there's not the other one, but there it is. Yeah, they did have the extra ice, so we're going to make some money here as Corp and get access. Ooh, that's an agenda. It's a hybrid. Take that one. Players expressing some heightened emotion on the table. Cost some room from us here. Hit a Hannah on the damage. And Raindrops is going to draw some creds.
So yeah, the just so people know, the runner is now on 5 points of 3, a 1, and a 1.
We've got them all stuck under the Hoshiko there.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a Fuji, a Sting, and a hybrid being
But that's
scored.
now just even more narrowing the pool of
but again,
of cards that can be the win. Although actually,
if it is only one blood in the water, then there's no 2-pointers in the deck. So the extra point doesn't really matter until you find another 1-pointer.
It's a free damage to take something out. In this case, Hannah, which is probably not too relevant. Apart from you could threaten that Spin Doctor, which could be important.
We've got this crew down, and we're running the new server here. So Velis knows this is a Prano. He's been paying attention, which maybe he hasn't because he doesn't have enough credits.
Yep, just letting him in.
And this is where I'm always a big advocate for note-taking in Tournament Netrunner. It's really easy to forget things like, I've seen all these cards over the course of the game, and some of them you feel like, I know that there's a Tattoo Bodo in hand, that's not the most relevant thing. But if Velis has been tracking...
Then we have a House of Knives coming down.
Oh, here we go.
And I believe we're preventing... Are we
looks
preventing
like
one?
We're preventing for the refund. Getting a counter... House of Knives just a really, really powerful combo with Prana here, letting you just turn, just any time the runner runs, you could decide, I'll take 3 credits.
Although also, it is unfortunate, like this House of Knives being scored so late means its text may be less relevant. The threat is less because the runner knows, they just have to account for Sting.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
They don't have to worry about 3 net damage from Fuji plus 1 from the House of Knives.
We can still shuffle that snare back in to
that is very
make
true.
things a bit dicey. We're going for
Tattoo
the
Bowler.
tattoo.
Tattoo Bowler's all the way down.
And we're just blowing it up this time. Makes sense. Getting a clean access. We're not shuffling the snare, it looks like. Oh, I don't know what that is, but it's staying. It's an interesting altar.
It looks like an overclock, but that would be the wrong type of deck for this card.
I assume we'd be seeing a judge call around now. That was an overclock. So now, we have seen it as kind of we talked about earlier. Paying to trash a couple of Pranas in the early game has really hurt the owner's economy. Which is not to say it was the wrong thing to do at the time, but this is what makes the Lad deck so good. I think is it's really hard to formulate a game plan over the whole game because there's so many things that the deck can do.
Yeah.
So many problems it can give you.
Mindscaping, we expect.
Okay. A Brindle Mold Mindscaping. You'd love to see it. That's a rare one. I don't have one of those. I need to get on to Toby about that. Mindscaping, delightful card. What a lovely design.
Yeah.
I really like it.
I like cards that have multiple uses.
Yeah, modal cards are just fun, and particularly those two, like, one of them is like very normal mode, and the other one is like, oh my god, you're dead mode. Really fun to see those two stapled together. Having a little look in HQ here. Likely to find a Tattoo Bowler? No,
It's an Emily.
Good to know.
Definitely. Just reminds you as the runner, like, there are threats that can kill me here.
Yeah. Enemy's very real. We draw the Mindscaping and snap play. Love to see it. Mix things up a little bit.
Of course, Mindscaping here, being draw 2. It's like I like to think it's the perfect blend of a hedge fund and it's like
it's a nice one, isn't it? It's
the Jinteki hedge fund, which lets you draw cards and make the deck safe or nasty, depending on how you want to play. Yeah. Or you can bluff and just stick an agenda on there. Generally you're just going to lock it out and put, especially while you've trashed the twinning when that snare came through.
Yeah, that's true. You just leave that on top.
That's the power of a single snare.
Yeah.
I always think when you're building a deck, you have to plan for the cut and plan for they will know your deck list, and a single snare in there completely reevaluates some of the decisions they make as a player.
I've often been an advocate for one snare gaming. I think it's the right number in a lot of decks for exactly that reason. It's like it's enough that they have to worry about it. In closed deck lists, they see the first one, they start to worry about the other copies that don't exist, which is good for you. And in open deck lists, it's harder to play around it because there's only one.
Yeah.
But it will still get them in some spots, like we've seen.
Yeah, I do wonder if there is a line of shuffling back, as Cobalt mentioned, getting the snare back in.
Yeah, but we're going for the R&D, so we're saying, is this a Tatuola or is it an anemone?
Yep.
Um,
And with the credits that the corp is on, it's hard to say which they would.
yeah, I mean, in
Which
the
they would
face
go
of a
for.
crew, it's a bit. You don't really want to put your tattoo down in front of a crew. But again, if you're trading your crews, those for crews, and then we get to Reza Data Loop later,
Yeah.
we don't feel too bad about that.
Although an anemone on the remote, if we can get a sting in there with the data loop, that
Yeah,
could be
would
a.
also be nice. And we know there's a Tattoo Bowler on the remote, so the anemone, if the anemone has stayed in hand, then that can pop up wherever Tattoo Bowlers fire. Well, we're gambling here. Okay, packing some money for Velis, potentially enough to threaten this Prana. Between this leech and the crew, you'd feel pretty good about. Oh, on the Amkur.
Here comes the
Okay,
Amkur.
so this is going to start solving our ice problems here pretty quick, you should think. In fact, with 6 credits and 5 leech cannons, you can break any ice in your opponent's deck here very comfortably. But really interesting whether we decide to run last click here, having established this threat. Always a risk, and particularly with this House of Knives on the table, if you could choose to hit you for damage or charge the Prana on this last quick run.
Yeah, I guess the good thing is we know that worst case scenario we do have the
Yeah,
Devil
we
Charm,
are
which means that
immediately-
Amakua can get through anything if we need to.
Immediately hitting for Prana money and raising the data loop. Look at that. This is nice. So this is going to put 2 cards
Down to 4.
on top out of the 4 in hand. But we
Now,
see
I'm
keeping
not
the steel
sure
skill.
if there is. This could be a Tattoo Bow behind it. But I feel like we've seen a lot of Tattoo Bowlers, so it's
Yeah, but
very difficult
if I
to say and
remember
keep track
rightly,
of them.
I'm pretty sure it was the Tattoo Bowler from earlier that was behind there.
Yeah.
Looks like, we're Devil Charming it on the encounter.
So we had to remove.
So we're removing Devil Charm from play. We're putting 2
Yeah.
cards on top of the deck because we still have to do that before we can use the crew.
This does, it definitely does feel like a crew thing here.
Yeah. Although you have a cleaver and a charged leech, so that data loop does only break for a couple, but you don't want to be running through it multiple times and having to put the cards back every
Yeah.
time. So
Are you not able to use the leech to reduce the strength instead of using the Devil Charm?
you can, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we've chosen to go for the Devil Charm here. Just keep those leech cannons around to make Galbakua function essentially.
Okay, yeah.
And it looks like Velis forgetting that he has a cleaver in play here because he's paid a leech counter to break with Amakua on this tattoo when we could have. See Rashida trashed.
Yep. That's going to be important because I think, like, spending on the data loop quite expensive. Although we cancelled one of the damage to get Prana value there. I think that was from the House of Knives. We just turned it into 3
absolutely.
credits.
Which
Yeah.
is just a really nice effect of the card. We drawn Fuji into hybrid.
Yeah.
So interesting spot. But if we've swapped the anemone, it was we think the anemone's not in hand here. I don't see it.
Yeah, I think
so
it's
the
going to be on
anemone's been
R&D.
swapped
Yeah.
into. No, well, it would have been. Oh yeah,
So time has just been called.
time has just been called. Wow,
I
gosh, the
think-
game was so engrossing. I
I think that
didn't
was
keep track of time at
called,
all.
and as it was being called, rapidly passed,
Yeah, it looks like
so
it.
that Fee will get one last turn here.
Right, but needs to score a Fuji somehow or get a kill if we're going to contest this.
Yeah.
Oh, that's unfortunate. That's a shame. I was really interested to see how this. It felt like Fee was turning this game around. But yeah, you only have so much time to do it, and players have been playing at a pretty quick pace.
Yep.
To be honest, it's just a lot of thinking to do. Again, the Loud deck just creates unique sets of decisions in every game, really.
You have been called out by the stream.
How you Warlock? How you doing? I don't have any of these. No hugely eternal playable cards on display here at the moment. I don't think, but we're having fun nonetheless. And yes, I will be baited into shouting out the Eternal Super League if anyone wants to watch some high-powered
Now-
Netrunner gameplay on a Sunday night.
Okay, so we're just. I mean, there is a line that this works, and also, yeah, the Moonpool could let us score.
Shuffle Moon.
Is there any way we can score a 3-point? I don't think so.
I don't know.
Unless if the
it's
Fuji's
tough.
already on the table.
And the Moonpool isn't. It's pretty tough. I can't think of a way offhand. We see a steal there.
That matters potentially because that could be a counter.
Yeah, it's a prana counter. money's good.
Which means we could see 3.
But also it's
net
6
damage,
points,
yeah.
right? So now
Now it
if
has to be a
he
Fuji,
scores,
yeah.
and Mr. Velis with a higher seed, so even if he scores a Fuji, they're tied on 6-6, and Velis wins for seed on time. So I don't think you have a way out here. Just click for credit
there we
and
go.
the scoop.
Throwing the hand down.
And it was
It's
a
only
hybrid. Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Oh.
didn't quite have the time to turn it around.
Yeah, it's a shame. What an interesting game.
So Mr. Velis will go through to then be playing Ob, I believe. You always play the other side after?
It depends who you play against.
Okay.
If you're playing, if Velis plays against somebody else who also won as runner, then it'll be a coin flip for who plays.
Okay.
But yeah, the
but it
algorithm will
is
try and balance
randomised from
the
there.
side. But yeah, it tries to balance to whatever side you played the least in the cup.
Yeah. Well, I will go over to the stream table and sort out the person that keeps kicking the thing. And we'll see you guys back for the next round, which will take us to the top 4. And we'll see who we're up against. There is one last person who we haven't seen on stream yet of these top 8, which is Goechi, I believe it is.
Yeah.
So if they're still in, they will be
Sounds like a
they will
good
be
shout.
up.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll be finding a player who didn't quite make it through this round to come and join for the next round of co-commentary, which is my favourite way to do it. So see you all in a bit. We'll put you on pause and switch over to